We had an amusing incident in our Shul last Shabbat. We had a very wonderful young boy. His name is Mordechai Kadosh, and I have permission to share the story. He is the son of Rabbi David Kadosh, who is my former classmate, roommate, very nice, good friend of mine. He's the rabbi of the Sfashkenaz Center here in Toronto. Now, Mordechai, you have to understand, is the son of a Sephardic Moroccan rabbi who has never really left his house for a Shabbat, and certainly not left his house to spend Shabbat at an Ashkenazi family by an Ashkenazic shul. So this was the definition of culture shock. Yes, culture shock can exist if you drive 10 minutes north on Bathurst and spend Shabbat with a different community. And so Mordechai, this very sweet, wonderful young man, who came with another wonderful young man, another Sephardic boy, to spend Shabbat at the Berkowitz family in our shul with their friend Ben Berkowitz. And I must commend publicly the boys who came on time to every single one of the prayers, sat there praying the entire time, respectfully. Kudos to them. But poor Mordechai literally was a fish out of water. Friday night, after we pray a bit, he comes to me with this wide-eyed look and said, "Aren't you going to sing this and this and this?" And I said to him, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And he was so disappointed, because in the Sfashkenaz Center and in Moroccan shuls, they sing a lot, and there's alternating singing between people in the audience and the chazan. And I said, "No." I said, "You can sing Yigdal if you'd like." And he didn't even know what that was. The next morning, we're praying more and more. He comes up to me and goes, "Are you going to sing Nishmat, which is a prayer in the morning service?" I said, "No, we don't do that." And he was so disappointed, and I felt so bad for him. And he kept on coming over to me, asking me if we're going to sing this, and if we're going to sing this, why didn't we say this? And the boy literally looked like he was so confused, as if we were walked into a whole different religion. And then poor kid, we offered him the honor of Glila to roll the Torah up after it's done reading. And in the Sephardic communities, of course, they take the Torah, which is in a beautiful case, and they lift it up and they kind of swivel it and turn it to the audience and put it right back down on the bima, standing up. In Ashkenazic shuls, they take it up, and the man sits down, and you have to roll it and cover and put a belt around it and dress it. And the kid had never seen it in his life, so he's looking around saying, "Go, go." We're telling him, "Roll the Torah." And he said, "Roll what Torah?" Meanwhile, the poor guy who was doing the Hagbah, who's lifting the Torah, the parchment is sliding down halfway because he's waiting for the kid to grab the handles. We throw a talit at his face. He wraps it around his head like a turban, like a kafiyah. It was a total culture shock. But I must say, I was very proud, because after all that was said and done and the poor kid was traumatized, the potato kugel was brought downstairs, and he came up to me and said, "Rabbi Mandel, is that potato kugel?" And I said, "Yes, Mordechai." He said, "Yes." So thank God we absolved ourselves. But it got me thinking, and I shared a very, very good laugh with his father, Rabbi Kadosh, afterwards, and he said it was our fault. We just totally forgot to warn him what he's about to experience. It's totally different than what he's done his entire life. And it got me thinking, we're about to read the Parsha tomorrow about the Mitzorah, a person who was afflicted with some sort of very serious supernatural spiritual disease that comes about when one speaks Lashon Hara, negatively about another friend, gossip. And the Almighty creates this fantastical disease with tiny white splotches, with certain discolorations, and the person has to be removed from the camp of the Jewish people. And there's a loss of identity. When the person has the disease called Sarat, they realize that they have lost a piece of their Jewish identity, and they have to go reclaim it, and they are sent outside the camp. It is an essential part of the process. If they don't go outside of the camp for the 7-day period minimally, they cannot be let back into the Jewish people's camp. So unless they go through this solitary isolation, whereby they are instructed to find themselves, to search deep within as to why did you gossip about your friend? That's not what a Jew does. That's not what a person with a soul does. That's not what a person who's charged with bringing God's mission to the world should do to another fellow Jew, or to anyone for that matter. If he or she does not go through that process, they will not reclaim their identity, and they cannot be let into the Jewish people's camp, and they are checked. After that period, they have to come back, and the Kohen, the priest, has to look at the coloration on their skin to double check that it's still there or not there, or if it might have diminished. The laws are very technical and complex. A person, many times, but we just don't realize or take advantage of it, They have to go and undergo a quest, an introspective journey to find their identity, to check themselves if they're really living by their Jewish code that their ancestors and their grandparents and their bubbies and zaydis want them to live by. Sometimes it takes a shocking moment, a Shabbat in an Ashkenazic shul, a splotch of skin heralding Tzarat. The Almighty will send you messages, and He will send us messages and signs to tell us, to beg us, to implore us, check your identity. You're a Jew. There is no greater time to do that, I think, than the holiday of Pesach as well. Pesach speaks about the essential identity of the Jewish people. Avadim hayinu. We were slaves to this terrible person, this emperor, but we left and became free, ironically, paradoxically, to become slaves to a different master. This is the time when we can come together and really, really take the opportunity to find whatever lost identity we may have gathered over the past number of years, to reclaim our Jewish neshama, our immortal, unbreakable soul, in this time of rebirth, the time of spring, the time of Pesach, taking the lessons of the Mitzorah to say, hey, I know I have a neshama, I know I'm a Jew, I know I'm a human, I'm here in this world to make a better place, using our Jewish values to be a light unto the nations. Let's reclaim our identity leading up to the wonderful holiday of Passover. Shabbat Shalom.